Yeah, it's just the face tattoos and the haircut and the he looks like a fucking street magician, Tavi. Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Two Asian Blokes Podcast, a podcast where we talk about Asian pop culture, films, TV shows, comic books, anime, music, food, video games, whatever we're feeling at the time, really. My name is Dan with H. With me, as always, is my co-host Tavi. Hello, Tavi.
Hi, Dan.
What up?
I'm very well. We're going to talk about some excellent films.
Well.
And some not so excellent films.
Yeah, 50-50 on this episode.
But I kind of had some pretty fun experiences watching these movies, to be honest. Except maybe, well, only one of them. The other one was god-awful.
Okay.
But yeah,
we're talking bad remakes this episode.
Yeah, that's right.
Two bad remakes, specifically. One's probably worse than the other. It's kind of apples and oranges. We'll get to it.
Yeah.
But we are talking about The Killer, directed by John Woo, and The Crow, directed by Rupert Sanders. Both of these came out the year of our Lord 2024, but they are obviously remakes of classic films from the 80s and 90s.
I thought you made a mistake when you were saying John Woo and Rupert Sanders, but then it's like, oh, wait, no. It is John Woo.
Both directed by John Woo.
They were both directed by John Woo.
He's back.
I kind of refuse to believe it. But it's kind of true as well.
Yeah. All right. So, we obviously are going to be comparing these remakes to the original. So, if you haven't watched the 1989 classic The Killer, starring Chow Yun Fat, and if you haven't watched the 1994 cult classic The Crow, starring Brandon Lee, I would recommend going out and watching them before listening to this episode. We're probably going to drop spoilers, even though neither of these films are really spoilery movies. But we'll be talking spoilers this episode, right?
I mean, we are trying to frame this as like original versus remake, but I mean, you can't really compare.
Yeah, I mean,
like, it's
full transparency, we obviously prefer the originals over the remakes. And if you're listening to this and you're thinking, it's just a couple of old blokes that, can't let go of the past. Yeah, that's probably true.
Yeah,
but
that's probably true.
The originals are better. I don't know what to say.
I mean, just ask Alex Proyas himself.
Yeah, we'll try to explore why we prefer the originals to the remakes in this episode, I guess. Should we talk about The Killer first?
Yeah, let's do it.
Do you want to give us a bit of background on the 1989 The Killer?
Yeah, so this is one of the all-time greatest action films, one of my favorites. It is about a hitman who, on a job, accidentally blinds a singer, and through his guilt, he tries to pull off one last job to recoup funds for her cornea transplants. But things go awry, and brotherhood and cheesiness and homoeroticness and a lot of yelling "achong" comes. So there's a lot of that. So the hitman is played by the very extremely charismatic Chow Yun Fat.
Oh, he's so cool.
Who plays Achong, or in some subtitles, depending on which version you're watching. I think we watched the Dragon Dynasty release. I'm not sure, but he goes by Jeff the Killer for all those mid-2000s millennials who remembers that meme. I wonder if there's a correlation.
Nobody knows your mid-2000s memes, Tavi.
People know Jeff the Killer. You gotta remember Jeff the Killer, that weird picture. But not related, but they just have the same name. But anyway.
People definitely remember this film, The Killer, 1989.
Yeah. Classic.
Yeah, like you said, one of John Woo's best. Put it up there with Better Tomorrow franchise and Hard Boiled. We're talking two guns. We're talking slow motion. We're talking saxophone jazz and blues and a lot of bromance. Hong Kong is there.
Yeah, a lot of Hong Kong.
In all its glory. It's peak Hong Kong, this film.
A lot of freeze frames.
Oh, yeah. Some freeze frames.
A lot of interesting editing choices, actually. Lots of diving.
Lots of John Woo. Lots of John Woo stylistic tropes in this film. And if you're listening to this and maybe you've only seen like John Woo's Hollywood films, things like Face Off and Mission Impossible 2, maybe Paycheck. Maybe you're a fan of Paycheck. I mean, like, it's there as well. His stylistic tropes are in his Hollywood films, but the Hong Kong films is where you really get why this was the it guy at the time, you know?
Yeah.
You see the magic of a really charismatic lead coupled with jumping through the air with two guns. And like a lot of squibs as well, a lot of like real gunplay, I guess.
Lots of very strong practical effects.
Yeah. It's not realism that you get in a John Wick, for example. It is a lot of style over substance, I guess. Style over accuracy, I guess you would say.
Yeah. That's probably the better way to say it.
Emptying a lot of clips. Nobody's really counting bullets, you know? It's just...
I mean, he's the pioneer of the heroic bloodshed genre of filmmaking. Like, one of my favorites.
Max Payne, you know?
Max Payne. I was playing Max Payne the other day. Yeah. I'm like, man, well, it was on sale for like $5. So I was like, yeah, why not? I haven't played Max Payne in a little while.
Yeah.
And it's great. Yeah. Max Payne is a lot of fun. Which was followed by John Woo's Stranglehold itself, which was a sequel to Hard Boiled, which I played the shit out of back in 2008, if you remember that game.
Was that a good game?
Oh, I haven't replayed it since then. It's not as good as Max Payne.
Okay.
It is a lot of fun, and it's really like you can finish it in a day. But no, it's very cool. I mean, like John Woo is like the pioneer and the influence for so many filmmakers of the 90s era, like Tarantino and
The Matrix.
Yeah, The Matrix, Robert Rodriguez, even like even Alex Proyas to an extent, if we're going to talk about The Crow as well.
Yeah.
It was just such dynamic filmmaking. For me, the original is so like grounded in its era, but I can watch this movie at any time of my life.
Right.
And I would enjoy it. Like I would just keep enjoying it. And the only joy that I get out of like looking forward to watching the fucking shit remake was that I get to watch this movie again.
Yeah.
I hadn't seen it in a little while.
Yeah, I hadn't either. And I was worried that it was not going to be as good as I remember, but I was so excited to watch it. And and I was so excited throughout the film because you're right, it is timeless. Somehow it's timeless, even though like the fashion, the editing choices, the music, you'd think it all would date it, but maybe it is dated, but it's dated in the best kind of way, I guess.
Yeah. I mean, we are definitely biased because we grew up with this kind of cinema.
Yeah, I don't know if a Gen Zer could watch this and enjoy it on the same level as we do still.
But I mean, they're just wrong, though. They're just wrong.
Oh, man.
It's just wrong.
I'm afraid I'm going to have to do some Gen Z bashing when we talk about the Crow remake later. But
okay.
I don't want to be that guy, but, you know, it is what it is.
We got to be that. Just own it. Just own it, man.
Yeah.
We're old millennials, man. We're in our mid to late 30s now, man.
That's right.
We can't help who we are.
Yeah. And like, I don't know. I was barely an infant when this film was made, but it has...
I was born when this movie was made.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I was born in the year of the killer. I could say that. Yes.
You should put that on your gravestone, Tavi.
I will put that on my gravestone. Tavi, born in the year of the killer.
Died in the year of the killer remake.
Yeah. And there's no like big conglomerate to tell me not to. Not like... the Spider-Man thing, if you know about that story.
Hey?
There was like a child who passed away like years and years ago, and like the parents wanted to put like Spider-Man on the gravestone, but then Disney were like, It's like it would ruin the innocence of what Spider-Man represents, and people like had a massive go at Disney.
Like 90% of those movies end in a funeral. What the hell are they talking about?
It's just like bullshit, like PR speech. But anyway, we're not talking about that.
Yeah, we're talking about The Killer, 89. So I think the plot takes a backseat to the style of this film. And, you know, if we're talking about the remake, the plot is fairly similar. The plot carries over. There are some minor changes and maybe a couple of significant changes. The gender of the lead, for one. But, I mean, like, they're pretty much like one-to-one in terms of narrative drive, I guess.
Yeah, I would say. Yeah, not... The plot is similar.
Well, we're moving it to Paris for the remake.
Yeah.
So obviously the city is different, and I would say the atmosphere changes dramatically because of that move. Like I love both cities, Hong Kong and Paris.
Yeah.
But they're different. They feel different. They got a different vibe to them, right?
Yeah.
And if we're talking like the noir elements of The Killer, 1989, it doesn't translate to the remake. And part of that,
No.
I feel, is because of the change of city.
Well, because John Woo wrote the original screenplay for the 89 version, but he didn't write this screenplay.
Okay.
This was written by like 3 dudes.
Yep.
It was written by Brian Helgeland, Josh Campbell, and Matt Stucken.
Okay.
I don't know how to pronounce that name, but the only one that I can see that has things that I know is Brian Helgeland, who he actually has done some good stuff.
Okay.
He wrote the screenplays for LA Confidential, which I haven't seen, and Mystic River, which I liked. So I would say to give the remake some credit, there is like talented people behind this. Sam Worthington's not one of them.
He's all right. Australia's own Sam Worthington.
Nah, he's okay. I'm sorry. I'm just making a bit of fun.
I think most of the acting talent in this film are doing okay. I especially enjoy Nathalie Emmanuel's like the physical elements of her performance. I think she's obviously trained a lot to get into the action part of this role.
Yeah.
Omar Sy as the detective of this story, Say. He's all right as well. I somewhat believe the chemistry between the two of them.
Yeah, somewhat believe it. It's tricky because I think you're right. I didn't find myself like hating the leads of the remake because I was expecting to, because the trailers made them seem like quite obnoxious. I think Nathalie Emmanuel and is it Omar Sy?
Sure, that's how we're saying it.
Okay, yeah. I think they do fine with what they have, which is not much to work with. But I have a feeling a lot of this vision is just, I'm not sure if it's poor direction from John Woo or if it is him being puppeted by Peacock or whoever the studio is, because it just feels very like soulless.
Yeah, it's a bit flat.
It's really it's super generic. And the thing is, like, if we're talking about plot, I think the first maybe 20 minutes of this movie, I was like, okay, like, look, it's obviously not the 89 version that I love so much, but it is like something different. And it, like, you know, at least, hey, there's some action, some like pretty poor action, but there's something. It's just like a lot of bland chase scenes at the start and
a lot of talking.
That's there you go. That's the issue. They just keep talking about bullshit, and they added more plot.
Yeah, there's more plot in
but
this.
It was
unnecessary.
It's shit's plot.
Unnecessary.
It was
Get rid of it.
Shit. And I was getting like angrier and angrier as the plot was going on, because there's this whole like plot about drugs and a Saudi Arabian prince or something, and then like searching for I don't care about this shit, man. I just want to show Nathalie Emmanuel like gunning down a lot of people, or well, they were going for a different style. They're going for the more like elegant, like I guess as a female killer, like she's, I guess they made her more acrobatic and stuff. So that's kind of working to her example.
And that's fine. I quite enjoyed the acrobatic elements of it. Yeah.
Just fucking do more of it. Just do more of it.
Yeah.
Stop fucking talking.
So in the 89 version, there's not that much plot.
No, there isn't.
There's a framing device at the start where like there's a weapons deal that goes wrong, right?
Yeah.
But that's pretty much like just an opening for this story of like betrayal, I guess, and Chow Yun Fat's trying to get his money, but people keep trying to kill him, you know?
Yeah.
There's also like more of a love story between him and Jenny, the blind woman, developed, which is pretty important, I guess, as well, because Jenny is essentially what he's like throwing his career away for. Yeah. Right? Whereas in the remake,
she just feels bad, right?
There is a blind girl. Her name is Jen. There's no relationship built between Z and Jen at all. So,
like, I was wondering if they were going to go like the LGBT route.
Which would have been fine. It would have been better, if I'm going to be honest.
Yeah, because they didn't do anything. Like the new Jenny sucks. Like,
she's a criminal.
She doesn't do anything.
Why?
Yeah.
It doesn't make sense why Z throws away her career for this and like puts her own life in jeopardy for this person. It just doesn't make sense. And that is like a huge flaw in this movie, because essentially everything that happens in the movie happens because of this decision that Z makes to not kill Jen. But why would she not kill Jen? Like, why is that the thing that puts her over the edge, I guess?
Because she just feels bad because she doesn't want to kill another woman.
Because it's a remake of The Killer 1989.
Yeah,
that's essentially why. And like, to be honest, this movie is fine, I think, as its own movie. But as a remake of a classic from John Woo's like filmography, it really falls down at several points.
And like the thing that kind of annoys me more is that usually when there's a remake of something, it is trying to elevate or draw people back to the original. You know, they'll usually remaster the original, or they'll make something like with One Piece. You know, like you and I both didn't like the live action One Piece, and you know, we copped a little bit of flack for that, but that's right. We still stand by our opinion.
I stand by it.
But at least it got you and I interested, or people interested, you know, and companies were pushing, check out the original as well.
Yeah, they put it on Netflix. Yeah, like when they made the One Piece remake, they put the anime onto Netflix as well. When they made the Avatar Last Airbender live action remake, they put the original series onto Netflix. Where's The Killer 1989?
Where's The Killer? Exactly. I was reading that apparently The Killer, it's a really rare movie to find.
Okay.
Which is so like unfortunate, because it's one of the best. Like, it is really one of the greatest action movies ever made, you know?
Why is it hard to find? Is there a reason? Is it like
it's just like
licensing or
distributions and licensing? Yeah, a lot of the companies that had the distributions are like not in business anymore. And like, as much as you and I love The Killer, it is not like it's not a strong IP. You know, it's a 35-year-old film.
It did well at the time, right? It's not real. Like
I think
it's got a cult
did pretty
following,
well.
but it did do well
yeah.
at the time as well.
But like, where is the attempt of a revival, or even just to show, you know, the original? Because that's why you would remake this, is because like, you should check out and compare the original as well. But it's almost as if like the original is just wiped off and just like, you only get this version, the way shit version of this movie. But yeah, like, admittedly, as a film itself, I still think it's not very good. It's just it's very average. And
would you say it's better than Trigger Warning?
Yes, I would say it's better than Trigger Warning. Trigger Warning is a worse movie.
There you go.
I think I dislike The Killer more. That's because it is a remake.
Sure. That's your attachment to the original, and that's understandable because like the original is something that we really love. But I mean, like as its own movie, I think it's probably better than like Trigger Warning, better than Ghosted, better than those kinds of like made for streaming action films in general.
But it still has that like, I'm not sure if digital really worked for this movie.
Okay.
There's just something that film grain, or just having that kind of faded film look.
Well, it's a combination, right? It's a combination of digital, but also CGI blood and CGI effects.
Yeah.
So like the action, like you said, it's kind of spectacular in a different way, I guess. Yeah, like Nathalie Emmanuel is doing a bit more acrobatic stuff. There's a bit more choreography, I would say.
Yeah.
So in that way, it could have worked as like a modern retelling of this story, yeah?
Yeah.
And especially, like, I think in the last scene, a lot of, like, John Woo elements are allowed to shine through. There's a bit more, like, diving with two guns kind of thing. You know, he uses a bit more slow motion as well, I think, in that scene.
Yeah.
I feel like there are some real car collisions at times. I'm not 100% sure on that, but some of the stuff looks pretty real. But, like, shooting guns is a big part of a John Woo film of old.
Yeah. I mean, action is the name of the game when it comes to both of these movies, right? And I think the remake I think it fails because you said there is some spectacular stuff, but there's also some very bland action sequences. Because in the first Killer, in the original, all the action sequences are good. Even like the lower key ones, they're just shot with so much style that it just looks so fucking cool. And
I think the charisma of the lead as well kind of carries a lot, yeah.
Yeah. But the remake, there's probably 3 action scenes that are probably the marquee ones. There's the one at the start where she kills the main dude or whatever, and then one in the middle in the hospital where she's pushing Jen. That's roughly the middle, maybe a little bit before, and then the final scene. But then there's just all these really just average running and chasing someone, and the car chases are just really boring. Like there's nothing exciting about any of these action scenes. And then a lot of the other stuff, then it's just all this talk about like backstory. And this is where the plot and it's too much, because you don't really know very much about Ah Chong in the original Killer. He is just cool.
Yeah.
But he has a code. So obviously he's been a killer for a long time. And then he's probably starting to question what he's doing. Yeah. So he wants out, but then
and
like
he doesn't
obviously
kill innocents as well, I guess.
He doesn't kill innocents.
And that is a trait that is carried on to Z in the new version. But yeah, it's too much Sam Worthington, I guess.
Sam Worthington's character and the original, I don't know.
He's just there to exposit.
Because Sam Worthington is the antagonist, right? In the remake.
Yeah, I guess he
whereas
is.
the original is like his best friend. And that's one of the big key differences as well, is there's like classic heroic bloodshed themes of like brotherhood, morality as a criminal versus morality as an officer, you know? And this is like classic Hong Kong police stories.
Yeah.
And you can still do that. You should do that in the remake somehow. But they sort of touch on it, but it's just not enough because they're too busy explaining this dumbass plot about drugs and some like Saudi Arabian prince and Sam Worthing backstabbing someone.
Sure.
Like, who the fuck cares what Sam Worthington is doing? I want to see Z kill a lot of people. I want to see the killer kill people, you know, rather than Sam Worthington, whose character in this film is just horrible. Like, he does a pretty meh Irish accent or whatever, whereas like the melodramaticness of the original one, I think they were having issues translating, because this movie had been in development for years, and I think what they were having issues with is that Western audiences don't like melodramaticness. So they wanted to take all that stuff out. So they added this bland plot about drugs. This is what I'm assuming.
Yeah.
I think that's the issue between like maybe movies of old and movies now, is that they lack sincerity. I mean, like melodramaticness is quite cheesy, but at least at the time, it is like, it's a very sincere way of telling a story. That's why you can have all these scenes of like people just jumping through the air and gunning down, going, Ah Chong! And Sally going, Ah Chong! And just like her going, ah! And she's like, you know, all getting fucked up and shit.
Yeah.
And it's fun. Whereas this one, it's just like, I don't know, there's just something that's just missing without that melodramatic sincerity, I guess.
That's right. Yeah, I mean, the most you get from the remake is probably the camaraderie between the cop and Z, where it's kind of like they go in for that, you know, respect kind of thing and like a little bit of like playful banter between the two.
It's done in such a boring way though, man. It's just in an interrogation room. And it felt like they were talking for like, I felt like I was watching like My Dinner with Andre at this point. It went for so long. And in the original, they have this really fun, playful scene where the cop
they go to Sally's house, right? And because Sally is blind at this point.
And Detective Lee Ying. So they go to Sally's house and have this really fun kind of choreographed sequence where they're like pointing guns at each other. Sally can't see. And it was a really fun scene. And they made up this story where we were old college mates and we used to call each other like Shrimp Head, or in the translation, Mickey Mouse Dumbo. But it was like, it's fun. So they added this kind of chemistry to each other, built it up, as well as like moving the story forward and like adding to the subtext to it. But like, I mean, what the fuck do they talk about in the remake? This is just like past stuff. It's just flashbacks, right? And it's like,
yeah.
you're a killer, and like,
They
you do
eat
things
sandwiches
your way
together, I guess.
Yeah,
They talk about crosswords for a lot of the time. And you know what? The crossword clues that she's struggling with, they're not that difficult either.
I think that's just poor writing. It's like, oh, fuck.
I think she should be better at crosswords, Tommy. She does lots of them, apparently.
Yeah.
There are a couple of bits where I got a chuckle. The bit where she like knocks him out and then she goes to leave and then she doubles back and points a gun and she's like, "Are you still awake?" And then he's like, "Yes, I'm still awake." And she knocks him out again. And I was like, yeah, that's pretty funny. There's a bit where like she escapes the police station by jumping onto this, what's it called? Like a big flag kind of thing, like a big long flag, and sliding it down to the floor. And then he tries to do the same thing later, and he just like burns his hands and falls down. I was like, that's fun. But there's a bit too much like just talking, I guess, and too many flashbacks as well.
And I think it really shows the difference between Ah Jong and Z and how they're written. Even though Nathalie Emmanuel does like the best she can with the role, and I think she does it okay, to be honest. Like, she's not hateable, but when it comes to like Western writers writing like modern Hollywood action movies with a female lead, they're so like afraid of making the female like have like a vulnerable moment. So she always has to be like cooler than like the male counterpart. So you do kind of see it a little bit in some of the flashbacks with her, like, she used to be some kind of drug addict, but then Sam Worthington's like, "Oh yeah, I'll teach you," or whatever. But then I'm the bad guy anyway, which is like stupid.
I'm Scottish for some reason.
Yeah. But like, she is just like too cool and never really takes any damage, only a little bit in the final scene. Whereas like Ah Jong, he gets pretty hurt for a lot of the movie. Even at the start, he gets like shot in the back as well. I mean, they do recreate that scene where like Ah Jong is shot in the back and he's getting stitched up and he's like, "Ah!" And
did they?
Nathalie Emmanuel. Yeah, I think there's a scene. I think Nathalie Emmanuel's in a church or something.
Okay.
But it's someone's fixing her. It's like the watch dude.
Oh yeah.
You remember that guy?
Yeah.
Who's he? I don't know. He's just the guy that he makes watches, or he's like
the bad guy from
seller?
Bad Boys, Tommy. He's the French guy that they always get to play a French guy.
Oh yeah. And he's that as well. Yeah. Whereas it's like, I mean, I'm going to bring it back to this comparison again to like Ballerina, for example, like I think in that movie they've written like an excellent like female action lead, someone that it's believable that she's cool and can fight all these guys, but also has to factor in to a point that like she's not as like, physically capable. Sure. Whereas like speaking of the watch guy, she like punishes the dude that hit him, and she's like, I just found that scene very like unbelievable. And usually I don't care about this shit, but it's just like it was just too much at this point because I'm not invested in the character enough.
Okay.
Even if they made that guy like a junkie, like skinny bastard, then sure. But like he had to be like a tank gym bro, and like it just didn't make sense. Like I don't know. It just I found it hard to believe Z could do the things that she could do compared to like what Ah Jong was doing.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, to be fair, she does get pretty hurt by the end of the movie. But yeah, they did it pretty well in Kate, I guess, where she takes damage consistently
Kate,
throughout the movie.
That's a good example as well. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think Kate is kind of an underrated action movie as well.
Yeah.
Our first podcast episode.
Sure, yeah.
Yeah.
Good film. Should rewatch that.
Yeah. I think that movie copped a little bit of unnecessary hatred, I think, as well at the time. Because I don't think it's as bad as people were saying. I think that's a pretty fun movie.
Yeah.
But yeah, I believe Elizabeth Winstead's character in that film.
Like, I don't have a problem with the gender switch of the hero in this story, in theory, but at the same time, it does kind of remove some pretty necessary elements from the story. Like,
it does, yeah.
Like the romantic entanglement, for one, between, the blind girl and Z. It's not there.
Yeah.
So, like, the relationship is not as strong. I think even, although I've been praising the chemistry between the two leads, Nathalie Emmanuel and Omar Sy, like, there's still something lacking in that it's not really like a bromance situation. I don't know.
It's not a bromance. It's not a romance. It's just a respect thing. But it's not. It's not enough.
It's just kind of like witty banter. That's not that witty, to be honest.
Just give them a romance. I know people might be offended by it, but just give them something. Make it fun to watch at least. Just I don't know. Just you can do it. It's fine. Like you want to try something different. Just do it. It's a bit of a trope, but sure. Just make it fun. Like get rid of all that shit about drugs and unnecessary stuff, man.
Yeah. You know the Sam Worthington's henchman, who is a woman. There are two women.
Yeah, the two.
Right?
Yeah.
You know how like in the original, it's like this guy with aviators on.
Yeah.
I don't even know his name. I think his name is Paul, maybe.
Yeah, they call him Paul. Yeah.
But he's got like a strong visual style, even though he barely has any lines, and he doesn't do that much, to be honest. In the remake, like there's no visual style really to them.
There's
to
just
these
two
characters.
women,
They're kind of just
like one Asian woman who gets sniped.
just a little bit of advice. Like if you're gonna do a mute assassin, they gotta at least look interesting.
Yeah, I mean, look at The Night Comes For Us, for example. Like, they're very strong characters in that movie. Like, I mean, the original antagonist in the 1989 one is pretty memorable because he's just so unlikable. Because, like, if he had just paid Ah Jong, he would still be alive.
Yeah.
I know he wanted to wrap things up, but, like, just pay the guy and you'd be okay. Like he was never gonna come see you again. But he's just, but it's because like he's kind of childlike in his stubbornness that I think the villain just knows that if I paid this guy, it would just go away. But like, nah, fuck this guy. I just want to kill him. So, and he's got that he's really well casted because that actor's just got that face that just like you can picture an angry boss of yours looking like that or someone in power who seems like they're old, but they're just childish. And I reckon his henchmen are like, oh man, like Ajong's killed so many of us. I wish he could just pay the guy so I would have to like risk my life to get shot 5 times.
Oh, that's another thing actually. I don't think the body count in the remake is high enough.
Nah, I didn't think they would be. It'd be too violent, which is another thing as well. Yeah.
It's kind of, it just goes maybe halfway. Like in the church scene is probably where we see the most bodies dropped.
Yeah.
But it doesn't feel like a lot of people are there. Whereas in the church scene in the 89 version, it's just people just keep coming in to get shot. I mean, man,
you're talking about John Woo, who's done like the ending sequence for A Better Tomorrow 2. Also one of the greatest, maybe not one of his best movies, but one of like the greatest climaxes to a movie. I actually like the climax of that movie better than The Killer, just because it's gratuitous, fucking over the top.
And maybe that's why the American remake was always gonna fail, because
it's just there's no impact.
I have a feeling, and this might be like based on John Woo's earlier American films as well, things like Hard Target and Mission Impossible 2. I think Hollywood may have learned the wrong lessons from those movies when they're utilizing John Woo as a director. I think they became too afraid of leaning in to the John Woo of it all. And instead, they decided to kind of strip it back and tone it down.
Yeah.
And when you water down an auteur with like such strong stylistic tropes, it just becomes like nothing. It becomes a nothing movie. And I feel really bad for the guy because, I mean, by all accounts, John Woo is a very nice man, and that might be part of his failing in Hollywood is because he's too nice. He doesn't. He compromises a bit too easily, I reckon.
He's not a Tarantino. He doesn't have the final say in the vision of the movie. Even like we've talked a little bit about it in past episodes by the John Woo Christmas movie. What was it called? Like
Silent Night.
Silent Night. Yeah, I was gonna say Last Christmas. That's the Henry Golding one. Yeah, Silent Night. Even Silent Night had better John Woo isms as well. At least the pacing of that movie is lots of shooting, you know. There was kind of a strong, weak climax in that movie as well. But I feel like the remake of The Killer is stripped even further back. And I've seen some positive reviews of this movie, like saying how this new version has different ways of elevating itself and saying like, yeah, we pay respect to the original. But like the way I read these positive reviews is that they are most definitely paid reviews because like I've never seen anyone say anything about how the remake does something better than the original, because it doesn't. There's nothing that the remake does better than the original. And if you were like in some of the reviews, they say, you know, as a massive John Woo fan, it's like, yeah, I can favorably say it's like, that's just lying. I know you're entitled to your opinion, but that's just lying because because there's a lot of people saying it's like, oh, John Woo's returning to form. Yeah, you can see his style in there, and it's just like this is not a return to form.
You can see hints of it. It's not. Yeah, I wouldn't say it's a return to form.
It's not a return to form. Unfortunately,
to me, it looks like there's a little bit of John Woo just trying to like crawl its way out of the Hollywood muck. But like it's just being smothered by I don't know, just 4 writers, I guess, 4 American writers, 3 American writers, however many writers it was.
And whatever the studio, I mean, this is a made for streaming movie, right? Like Peacock so its budget is gonna be much lower.
And I don't think it's a sense as well that, like, yes, it would have been nice to see squibs. I know it's not realistic in a modern setting, but you can make CGI gunfire and CGI blood work.
I mean, again, we're gonna say, like, look at John Wick.
Yeah, look at John Wick. John Wick did
look at John Wick. Like, you don't have to be John Wick, but make the movie.
Maybe
like,
it should be John Wick. Maybe this movie would have worked if it was John Wick, Tommy. I don't know.
The movie is like longer than the original. Make a 90-minute movie, cut out all the fat. Like, just give me some good fucking action. Maybe some nice banter and some
atmosphere. Themes, you know, like
some atmosphere. There's no atmosphere, and that's again going back to the digital versus film, because I think this was just shot and then there was just a lot put on, and it's like, yeah, that's fine. Just put it out there.
I can't remember a single musical choice in the remake, whereas in the original, the music is played such a big part. Like the fucking one of the leads is a singer, you know.
Yeah.
So, I don't know.
And,
man.
it's just missing like the melodrama. Like the first time Jong makes the choice to like really help Sally out, she's like attacked by these 2 guys on the street, and it's just like it just feels so mean of these guys to just prey like on a blind woman. And she's like, help me, and like just do something like that. Like it's cheesy as fuck, but it gets the story across.
Don't be afraid to make it silly. That's why we like these movies.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I mean, I wish I could go on just more about the original. Just like it's just so like visually strong, and the moments like when he like rescues the kid and stuff, and the guys are like trying to kill the kid or something in the original. Like, fuck hell, man. Just like relax, you know.
Just relax.
And the best friend and the moment of betrayal as well, even though you saw it coming, but it's just like it feels so strong. And then he like kicks the chair over, then like shoots the guy through the window, and then there's just like all these other guys getting shot like multiple times, and people like flying halfway across the screen after getting shot by a shotgun, which is impossible. But it's just cool. And to spoil the ending of the original, like it's a bit of a downer. Super cheesy, and because like he gets his eyes shot out, which he would just die. That's fair, because the bullets would pierce those eyes, but he gets shot in his eyes, and he's like and then like it has this really melodramatic scene where Jenny and Ajong are trying to crawl to each other, and it's just like Jenny and Ajong, and then he dies, and then the fucking dude weasels his way out again, and he surrenders, and he's like, oh, I'm unarmed, and then it's like, oh, and then he just walks up and he just fucking kills the guy, man. It's so it's so wrong.
Jail. It's a cop going to jail, Tommy. He's gonna get stabbed in prison.
Oh, but he just kills him, and it's just cool. And then you know that the guy's gonna be on his ass, the captain, and it's murder, but it's just so like it's so poetic. Like the original killer is like so poetic, whereas like the ending, I think the ending is so Hollywood. It's really bad. It's just like, oh look, I killed the guy, and like everyone's alive, and then the Jen's just like, wow, my vision's come back now. Isn't that great? I didn't need to do anything about it. I I was merely a plot point.
Yeah.
You could say that Jenny was just a plot like point as well, but at least she had some character. At least she gave Ah Chong some motivation.
Yeah.
What the fuck does Jen do in this remake?
Yeah. So John Woo used a lot of birds in his movies, right? Doves and such. Yeah. Like the symbolism behind that is, they kind of appear when characters are about to die, right? So like in the climax of the film where Ah Jong is about to die, there's a shitload of doves flying around. There are also a lot of birds in the climax of the remake. But none of the heroes die, really.
It's just like, everyone. Sam Worthington dies.
Sam Worthington dies, okay. So the birds were there for him. Fair enough.
The birds were there for him. Wow, amazing. It's just such a shame that this is the introduction for people who are watching a remake of a John Woo movie and they'll be like...
It's modern movie making. Like, who knows what kind of audience this was trying to get. And again, it's a made-for-streaming action film, and I think if you're comparing it to made-for-streaming action films, it's somewhere in the middle, I would say.
I think so.
Yeah.
It is a very typical made-for-streaming action film.
I don't really want to talk about it anymore, to be honest. Have you got anything more on The Killer?
Yeah, no, it's pretty bad. I mean, this is only just available on the wiki, but what you see what it could have become. Well, apparently there was a version of this that was supposed to be set in Koreatown, and the killer was going to be played by Jung Woo-sung. Like, how cool would have that been? Like, Jung Woo-sung would have definitely pulled this fucking shit off, you know? I know that there has been some Korean remakes of John Woo movies that have received mixed reception as well.
Okay.
I think there was a remake of A Better Tomorrow, which I haven't seen, but I heard it's not as good either, so I didn't bother watching it.
I think if you're going to remake The Killer, put it in India. I reckon Indian cinema is the place where this kind of movie can exist. Like a good version of this kind of movie.
Actually, that's very true. That's very true.
You got the bromance. You got the
bromance.
They're not afraid to be cheesy as well in that part of the world.
And Indian cinema is getting, in terms of its like action violence, a bit more transgressive these days as well.
Yeah.
Because there's more of an international appeal for Indian films. So that'd be cool. I'd definitely go watch that.
Maybe there is a remake of The Killer in India. I haven't looked it up.
Yeah, I know there's a remake of Old Boy somewhere. But the original wins.
Original wins.
Original wins. It's a flawless victory. Flawless victory. Fatality. Yeah, don't bother with the remake.
All right, well, let's talk about The Crow next then. So
you sound so excited. Let's talk about The Crow.
So The Crow, 1994. It's a 1994 American superhero film directed by Alex Proyas, famously directed Gods of Egypt and other things.
Well, he did Dark City.
Yeah, Dark City's good. Good one. Yeah. iRobot's good.
Knowing. You remember that movie?
Oh, yeah.
With Nicolas Cage.
Yeah. The Crow is based on a 1989 comic book series. The 1994 version and the remake version centers around Eric Draven, who is a musician, falls in love with a girl. They both get killed, and because of the strong connection of love, Eric Draven is brought back from the dead as an undead avenger of sorts. And he goes and exacts vengeance on the people that murdered his love. Yeah, I mean, like, again, plot-wise, these two movies are pretty similar.
Yeah, pretty much the same.
What did you think of The Crow 1994? I know you watched it recently, as did I.
Yeah. I liked it when I was younger, but I never really fell in love with it. I enjoyed it, but I wasn't like a massive diehard fan of the original Crow. The remake is pretty bad, but anything following the Crow movies after are like just as bad as well.
You mean the sequels?
The sequels.
The sequel, City of Angels, starring Mark Dacascos, I think.
They're all different though. They're not about Eric Draven. They're all about a different Crow.
Because the comic, a lot of people become the Crow. That's just the nature of the character, right?
And like as an auteur, I would say I'm mixed about Alex Proyas.
You love Gods of Egypt.
He's done some really good.
We watched it together.
Yeah, I mean, when Alex Proyas was at like his heyday, he made The Crow and Dark City. I remember watching Dark City like once, like years and years ago when I was probably still in high school, and I caught it like late at night. Like it would have been playing at like 11 or 12 and it finished at 1. And there was something like really magical about the atmosphere of Dark City watching it. I haven't rewatched it since then, but I think that's a great movie.
Yeah, I mean, these movies definitely inspired elements of The Matrix, much like The Killer did.
Yeah.
Different elements, but
And with The Crow, The Crow, when I rewatched the original recently, I actually enjoyed it way more than I was expecting to.
Yeah.
I was like, wow, this is like quite a good movie. It is very, very much entrenched in the 90s.
It's such a 1994 film, man. This is
it feels so
this is like
90s.
Hot Topic, the movie.
well, this movie invented the Hot Topic fashion trend, the goth fashion trend. It's very iconic.
Invented? I don't know about that.
It's very iconic of that brand.
Yes.
I would say so. Like a lot of people really looked up to The Crow.
Yeah.
Like people looked to
it's
Nightmare
grunge.
Before Christmas.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It does commit to this aesthetic, which is good. It's a good thing, you know. Like you should commit to an aesthetic.
Yeah, I think it's quite cool. I think we'll say this about The Killer. I mean, I can't think of another way to say it, but there are like elements of both original movies of The Crow and The Killer that are admittedly silly, but they're earnest and they go so far into it.
Yeah.
It kind of makes it pretty timeless as well. Like I could watch The Crow again. Like I was thinking about rewatching it the other night.
Yeah.
Just because I felt like watching it again because it's actually quite a fun movie. And the tragedy is that Brandon Lee could have been someone like quite famous or quite cool to watch because I actually really enjoyed Brandon Lee's
He's got a lot of charisma.
rendition of The Crow.
He's got a lot of charisma, man.
Yeah. He is so into it. And he's kind of like, I can't think of a better comparison, but he's kind of like sort of the pre-Joker in a sense.
Well,
He's going pretty
that's
wild.
a thing.
Yeah.
I think Heath Ledger's Joker was inspired by Brandon Lee's performance in this film.
Oh, there you go. Yeah. You can definitely see comparisons. Like
He's having a lot of fun murdering gangsters.
Yeah, he's having a lot of fun. Yeah. And like the way that they set up The Crow as well, it's like super to the point.
Very brisk.
You know?
The film opens with them being murdered already. Like it opens with the crime scene of their murder. There's no gaff. It's just, they're dead.
Yeah. They're dead.
Different to the remake, which we'll get to. But 1994 Crow, I watched it again recently and I'm like, wow, this is maybe not as good as I thought it was when I was a kid, but it's still pretty fun to watch because it commits to being a 1994 film. I think because it commits, you forgive a lot of the flaws of the film, like a lot of the shonky CGI, for example. A lot of the ridiculousness, like the fucking main villain of the 1994 looks like a fucking top dollar, just straight out of like Interview with a Vampire, just doing a bunch of...
I love this villain, man.
It's so good.
Michael Wincott.
Yeah.
There's so much to remember about this character. His raspy voice, his luscious like L'Oreal hair, and his like Victorian-esque. Like you don't know a lot about this guy.
He's got an Asian girlfriend, or maybe it's his sister.
It's his sister.
I think it's sister. Yeah. They eat eyeballs together or something. Or
Oh, did they? Yeah. I think there's some form of like incestuousness that the movie is implying, but it's just not said. Yeah. And the gangsters are so fucking 90s as well. Just like 90s fashion, just like laughing and hooting at like murdering people.
Just the rattiest blokes.
Like super ratty people. And like
Ernie Hudson is there running around.
Ernie Hudson like being super likable as well. Yeah. He's like, you just came back to life or something. I don't know. I don't remember the quotes, but it's just like, you know how Ernie Hudson is. He's great. Like it's just there's a lot of likable characters in this movie. And the fact that like Brandon Lee's rendition or motivation, it is just pure, it's pure vengeance at this point. He does love his girlfriend, but there's nothing that is going to bring her back. So he is completely driven by revenge. Which, everyone loves a good fucking revenge story.
Revenge and having fun while doing it. That's what it is all about.
Yeah, he's having so much fun. Yeah. Like, there's nothing to suggest that the character, Eric Draven, knows how to fight or anything, but he kind of just does.
Because it's Brandon Lee,
Because,
I think.
like, it's Brandon Lee. Yeah. And now switching it to the remake, and I guess we should start with the Eric Dravens and Bill Skarsgård. Bill Skarsgård, that guy can be pretty damn intimidating. I mean, you're talking about Pennywise, and you're talking about barbarian Bill Skarsgård, who they've used his unnerving look as that extra diegeticness of the movie. Like, there's something wrong with the way Bill Skarsgård look. I'm sorry to Bill. I don't mean like you look bad. It's just like
he's leaning into it. He's fine with it. He's built a career out of looking a bit weird and being a Skarsgård.
But his version of Eric Draven sucks. Like, he's not intimidating. Okay. He's not interesting. And he's a bit of a bitch throughout the whole movie.
All right, well, let's dissect this analysis of Eric Draven. So,
but like, I think he just did a bad performance. Okay. Like, some of the line delivery when I was watching this movie, it felt like it was a first take, and I was just like, I don't know about that, man. Like, it just the delivery just seemed off, almost as if it's like they had to just reintroduce it to hold the audience's hand at this point.
Are you talking about throughout the film or when he becomes the Crow?
Basically when he becomes the Crow. When he's not the Crow, I think he's just okay.
Yeah, the first half of the movie, or first the
first half
of the movie.
Yeah.
Sure.
Well, before I get into that, like, what do you want to say about Bill Skarsgård?
I mean, I can see where you're coming from. I think the deliveries, for the most part, are pretty unnatural, but I don't think that is a major weakness in the film. It might take some of the menace out of the character, I guess. But I think for me, it's probably the redesign is the main issue. I just don't like it. And I can see where they're coming from in trying to modernize it. But like just something about it. They just
make him look like Jared Leto's Joker, right?
Yeah, it's just the face tattoos and the haircut and he looks like a fucking street magician, Tommy. There was a point where towards the end of the film where he's got his open trench coat and he's got his black eye makeup and he's walking moodily towards the camera. And I'm like, that's fucking Chris Angel, mate. Like, it's mind freak. And the original Crow design, it's also pretty ridiculous, but like
it is.
I don't know. It's just there's something more. Yeah.
It just works.
It just works.
I don't know. Yeah. I think it's because like they've embraced like the silliness of it, and like Brandon Lee's kind of over the top performance just sells it as well. I think
maybe it's because he's not the most ridiculous looking person in that movie. The most ridiculous looking person being Michael Wincott's Top Dollar.
Yeah.
But in the remake, it's Bill Skarsgård. He's just like so out of place in every fucking scene.
Yeah, but like again, like he's not the rock musician. Like in the original, he's a rock musician, and this is because this is very much made in the 90s where, grunge was in the mainstream, so there was a sincerity to that.
Yeah.
And just maybe talking about the music, like I think the remake, its score, the original score is just forgettable.
It's nothing. It's all over the place. Like they didn't commit to aesthetic in the remake. I think if you were going to make a modern Crow with a modern design, like this could have targeted Gen Z audience, I guess. And I feel like that's what they were going for with some aspects of it. But the music is like, it's just everything, I think. It's just a bit of grunge, a bit of rap, a bit of and it becomes just a bit forgettable.
Yeah, like with the remake stuff, I do actually like a lot of the songs in the remake. Like, they play Joy Division, and they play I am forgetting, I'm trying to think. But a lot of the sounds, from what I remember, it's a lot of like post-punk revival or like post-punk new wave. And in that sense, it is the essence of a different kind of gothic sound. Maybe a sound that is not as abrasive as the grunge, like hard rock of what the original Crow was. Like, you had Rage Against the Machine, you had 9 Inch Nails, but like they had like The Cure, which was like, they had the song Burn in the original, and it's for me, that's quite a memorable song. But in this one, there was a lot of songs that I liked, but then there was some out of place songs as well. And like, I will get to talking about the climax later, but I feel like there was kind of a missed opportunity with like just the music choices. Because again, I think you're right. It's just somehow it's not committing to a music sound. And I think it's because they wanted like a Gen Z sound, but not having like mumble rap in it, or not having a fucking, because if they had gone like full Gen Z music, then I would be like, this is the worst movie I've ever seen this year. Like, I don't want to see fucking Esper in a Crow movie or whatever, Resident Evil. But like, you know, it's like, I think, the music is actually okay.
Yeah, but it doesn't really play a part in the film. It's just kind of there. Like
I agree with that.
In the original, like fucking, there are scenes where Brandon Lee's Crow is just playing guitar on a rooftop, and it's fucking awesome. Like there's no reason for him to be doing that, but it's so good. Whereas in this film,
it feels like an MTV music video, and that's like the coolness of it. Whereas this one,
fucking rain pelting down like his P Diddy yelling at Godzilla or something. But like in this one, like He's kind of a musician, maybe?
He's a poet, but it's the girlfriend that's the musician.
Sure.
But like, they don't do anything with his poems. He's like, I write stuff, and then that's it. Like, I can't remember any other point of the movie where that is relevant to his character.
Yeah. Like, quote some poetry, bro. Like, even in the original, he quoted some Edgar Allan Poe.
That's true. Just be cheesy with that. Just like, because he's obviously, like, the reason that Brandon Lee's Crow is because he's taunting his victims. He's hunting them down.
Yeah.
But in the remake, everyone is coming to Bill. And Bill's just like cowering in the corner and just like this hurts. And it does hurt, you know. Like, I mean, the one thing is, like, what the remake probably has over the original is that the technology is there to show the wounds healing themselves and getting shot, because the remake it's a lot more gory than the original,
and this is an aspect that I think is elevated in the remake. They did make it gory, and you know, respect for that, like making an R-rated film of a property that
might not be that strong.
You know, it doesn't have a huge fan base. It's a swing. I wish they had made it better, but at least they made it R-rated. So, like, and the gore, for the most part, looks pretty good.
I would say so.
It lends itself well to like some of the fight scenes, because like both iterations of the Crow, you know, they're not like expert combatants, I guess. They just lean on the fact that they're invincible. And like Bill Skarsgård's version especially, like he's not the best fighter, so he cops a lot of damage in a lot of the fight scenes, and for like most of the movie he's feeling a lot of the pain. And there are scenes where he's like pushing in his own intestines and snapping his legs back together, and that, you know, that's a cool. Good it's a good added element to it. And the climax, the last fight scene, pretty good, I would say.
I want to talk about that a bit more, but I do want to touch on the girlfriend character because
it's a significant part of the film.
Like in the original, you don't really know anything about her at all.
She's just the typical dead wife.
And what the remake does, maybe to me a mix of positive and negative, is that they've given her much more of a character who's played by, I think this is her debut role, FKA Twigs. She's a British singer, and I've listened to her in the past a bit, and I like her music. And I honestly think she did like a pretty good job in being the girlfriend, being the charming girlfriend.
I dare say she has more charisma than Bill Skarsgård in this movie.
She does, and I can see why like the Crow would be upset when she dies. And she's actually like quite cute. And I dare say all the stuff that involves her and Bill Skarsgård building chemistry together was probably like the most enjoyable part of the film for me. But it's also, when I was watching it, I'm like, I like this. But this is the Crow. Like, what are you going to become the Crow?
It goes on for too long. It goes for too long. I would say I enjoyed the first half of it, but then it kept going. And I'm like, I think I felt the same. I feel like if this was a different movie that wasn't The Crow, then it's like, sure, I'd probably like it. They got a bit of meet cute in the rehab center. They escape together. It's fun. They have a good time escaping together.
They play some Joy Division. That's cool. I liked it. that was probably my favorite part of the movie, which is kind of a detriment because if my favorite part of a Crow movie is the love interest and the building of chemistry, you have done something wrong.
Well, I mean, I understand the impulse because, like, you know, for it to be a strong motivation for revenge, you might want to build up the relationship between the two.
It goes on for too long.
Yeah, I don't think it's super necessary either, to be honest, because, like, a lot of revenge movies just have a dead wife, you know, at the start. And you get it. You get that guy's angry because his wife is killed. Like John Wick, his wife is killed, but also a puppy is killed. But they don't linger too much on that aspect of it. You just get to John Wick killing a bunch of people. So, like, for a revenge story, I can get why you would want to strengthen the relationship, but at the same time, it's not all that necessary.
Yeah.
But it is good for a part of it.
Yeah. It's like, I find your character very charming, but, like, when are you gonna die? So like, this guy's gonna be the Crow, which is kind of like, I had a mixed feeling because like, I don't want this character to die, but I also want you to die so Bill Skarsgård can become the Crow.
Yeah. I will say though, when they're like doing their love story thing, they should just leave the city. Like, I don't get why they stay in the city where the people that are hunting them live.
Yeah, I agree. I was gonna say like, FKA Twigs is not taking her situation very seriously for someone who knows that her life. She's like, let's just stay.
Like, there's a guy, her friend Dom, who goes to the club to find her, and he's like, "We gotta get out of here. We gotta leave town." And then like,
and he just stays anyway.
You see him later in the movie. He's just kind of like walking out of his place, like, like, what the fuck are you doing, man? You should be in Mexico by now. I don't get why. It's the same city that this like demon man is chasing them lives in. Should we talk about the demon man?
Danny Huston, he's a good actor.
He's a good actor, especially if you need somebody with like vague supernatural sinister powers. He's the man that you want,
I think he does okay, but I don't like the character.
Well, this is a pretty big change from the original, In the original, like the Crow is the only supernatural element in the story. Whereas in this one, there's Danny Houston's character who has the power to control people with words, I guess. He whispers in your ear and then you stab someone or you stab yourself.
There's some confusing bits of dialogue at the end. The
end is super confusing. I think we'll get to it. But I was so confused. But no, so he has made a pact with the devil or something. So his goal is to send innocent souls to hell by making them murder people or themselves. And then that stops him from going to hell or something. So, I don't mind that there is a supernatural element outside of the Crow in this story. I think maybe it could have worked as like more of a adversarial relationship because in the original, he doesn't really have like a strong adversary. Michael Wincott is kind of just a weirdo, but in this movie, it could have worked. I can see what they were going for with it. Like two supernatural beings with a different skill set, I guess, going against each other. But I don't think it comes together at the end.
Yeah, it's weak because there's no boss fight, which a lot of movies seem to be like missing. Boss fights are tropey, but they're fun. And I guess Danny Huston is old. So when I saw his like character, like I know he's not gonna have a sword fight like they do in the original Crow, which is like quite fun to watch. It's on a rooftop and it's very thematic.
They could have had a sword fight. Like he had a sword on him.
But he obviously because like you got to train for that shit. And Danny Huston's like, I'm not doing that. He's like, okay. And then it's just like,
he's done some action before. He was the lead vampire in 30 Days of Night.
But that was like 15 years or 17 years ago. But it's just a talking match at the end. And then his powers is like, what does he say? Like, I can control you. It's like, I'm not control. It's your like corruption, like. But like, isn't that just vague? Doesn't everyone have a corrupt part of themselves? It's really
vague. The ending is really vague.
And then it's just like, sure. What? It's just words.
But also, like, the main plot device for this story doesn't really work either. So there's like a video, right, of Danny Houston's character making FKA Twigs' character stabs someone.
Yeah, yeah.
And that's why like FKA Twigs is killed, because she has this video and the bad guys are trying to get it. But that video just shows FKA Twigs stabbing someone.
Yeah.
It's in no way is it proof that Danny Houston's character did anything.
Yeah.
So like what? It doesn't make sense that the bad guys want it so badly and that this video could bring them down in any way.
Yeah. I think it's just like a just in case kind of things. Like, oh, maybe there's gonna be like some YouTubers like, look at this framing, look at the way that this man has whispered in this girl's ear, and look at the ears.
He's definitely the devil.
I mean, look at the frame. Like this, so there's gonna be like, on the off chance that there's some like YouTube journalists who are gonna make the video go viral, and then
that's another thing.
So he's
just put it on the internet. Like, you've got the video, just put it on the internet.
Oh yeah, that's true. Actually, put it on the fucking internet.
If that's what you want to do, if you want to expose this guy.
Well, I think she didn't want to be ousted as a killer, but then it's like, I don't know.
Well, the Asian girl should have put it on the internet instead of doing whatever she did.
just be Asian and die. Yeah, it's I don't know.
But the end when they have like their talking battle, it's really vague supernatural stuff going on. So like Danny Houston does manage to whisper into Bill Skarsgård's ear, but then he like fights back with, I don't know how. Like they just
the power of love, Dad.
I guess it's the power of love.
Yeah, that's the shit thing about this movie as well. Like it happened with the Old Boy remake. There's something about remaking movies with the power of love. It just makes it fucking lame, man. Because his motivation in the remake is that there's this random like Southeast Asian guy in the realm in the like,
railway station.
The
limbo railway station. Yeah.
Which is like, it's kind of cool looking, but I've also seen that realm before. But anyway, he gives him the options. Oh, if your love is pure, then I'll make you the Crow. But that's so fucking lame, man. How lame is that? Oh, I love you so much that I'm alive. Like, whereas characters, like, this might sound a bit cruel or a bit mean, but like characters that are born from hate and like have revenge as their fuel, it's just so much cooler. There's something like transgressive about it. And that's why like there's some Korean movies where like the vital villain is just like fueled by his evil, and it's really fun to watch. Whereas this like,
I also didn't believe the love between the two characters, even though they spent a significant portion of the film developing it. I still didn't believe it as much as I did in the original somehow. And I don't know, maybe there wasn't enough mourning on Bill Skarsgård's part, and the fact that like he doesn't really know much about her either. Like, he at one point he sees the video and is like, oh, I don't know if I love her anymore. Like,
he's so swayed so instantly.
But like, what is that?
Didn't he like? So at the point that he finds that out, I'm like, didn't that guy tell him that it wasn't her? But it's like, oh, I don't know if I love her anymore.
Yeah.
And he's like, oh, you failed the test. Oh my God. Oh, it's just like, oh yeah. Oh, take my soul instead of it. It's just like, what the fuck is this?
To me, a lot of this movie is a testament to the irresponsibility of Gen Z's. The fact that FKA Twigs doesn't flee the country as soon as she escapes from the rehab center. The fact that Bill Skarsgård's love is so fickle that even though he knows that she's being puppeted, he's just like, nah, I don't love you anymore.
What a so easily
how dare
swayed,
these people in their mid-30s playing people in their mid-20s act.
In their mid-30s. Yeah, that's right. Yeah. When it's like, I remember, I think one of the lines says about FK is like, she's in her 20s. I'm like, I don't think so. Like, I mean, she looks good for her age, but like,
they both do. They both do, but they're closer to our generation than they are that generation.
They're millennials. Because I've been listening to FK Twigs for like a little while now. So, she's definitely millennial. But it's funny because like they spent all this time together. And they've spent all this time building up their relationship. But I think you're right. They don't... It's just not believable. And the fact that like he's just swayed just like that. It's like, oh, I don't know, man. It's like, you didn't stab that guy. It's just like, even though I was told that this dude has the power to like control people, even though that's quite vague. But it's just like, yeah, it's just bad writing at this point. And to be honest, like, look, like I don't always need an airtight plot. Like, plot is one of the things that I don't really care that much about. It's not really that big part of my criteria, but it's like when you have this many holes, I think it's just because the movie is just like, it's just not good. So I couldn't suspend my disbelief enough. Because there's obviously shit that happens in other movies that's like, that can't happen, but that's all right because I'm enjoying the movie. But with this movie, I'm just like, yeah, I don't know. We're not enjoying it. I mean, how many action scenes are there in this movie? There's the one that Bill Skarsgård has with the corrupt cop.
I quite like that one, actually. I like the idea of him discovering that he can't die in the middle of a fight.
Yeah.
That's fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's the car chase scene and he gets run over by the truck. That was kind of cool. And then there's the final one, right? Is there any more?
There's the one where he gets Chance the Rapper killed.
Oh, yeah, that's Chance the Rapper.
Oh, no, sorry. No, it's not Chance the Rapper. The character's name is Chance.
Oh, okay. Are you just assuming he's a rapper, Dad?
His character's name is Chance. He probably does a bit of rapping. He gets his friend killed. And then he fights a few guys there. That's a good fight scene as well. I quite like that.
Okay, so there's 4. Yeah, I don't know. I feel a bit mixed on the action because it seems realistic in a sense that Bill Skarsgård is not a person that knows how to fight. But it also seems like a lot of the way that he kills people is quite accidental. And it's just like not as fun because Brandon Lee knows how to fight, right? So there is like some choreography to it.
Not that much though.
There's not that much, but it's a bit more believable. You can see how this guy can overpower people. But like, if you're invincible, but you're just getting beaten up constantly, then like, I don't see how like you would win a fight.
With the samurai sword.
Yeah, with the samurai sword, yeah. But it's only until he fails his pure test because like, I lost my faith. And then he's like, I'll give my life for FKA Twigs. And then he becomes the Crow again, I guess. Yeah. So is he really the Crow at this point? Because he put like face paint. So was he just half a Crow?
Well, he gets the black blood, I think. So he gets a bit of an upgrade. I think he stops feeling pain.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah. So that probably helps.
So he's only half the Crow at the start.
Yeah.
And then he becomes the Crow later. So there is like the marquee action scene, which is, I guess it's good. It's pretty gory.
It's pretty fun. I think they were having fun with it as well. He does a lot of creative things with the sword. Like he's getting like run through with his own sword, but then he like pulls people into him so that they get stabbed as well.
As a little side note to that scene, I'm not sure if you noticed this, but were some of the security guards that were they like unusually old looking?
One of them was unusually old that
One
I
of them
noticed.
looked like he was this 80-year-old guy. And I was like, why is this guy so old? Like me, I watched this movie with Sunman. We came up with a theory that it was just a patron going to the toilet and he saw like this crazy guy attacking security guards. Yes. And he's like, I'll come help you. This guy's crazy. And the best guy just kills. Like,
stop, Chris Angel. Stop. You're out of your mind, freak.
Worst opera ever.
He just wanted to enjoy some opera.
He just wanted to enjoy some opera. Like, I've heard some really good things about this opera. And then he just goes and he just gets killed by Bill Skarsgård. And it kind of looked odd because at this point, it kind of seemed like someone really strong just picking up someone super frail. It's like, fuck. It's like, my back. Yeah. But with that action scene, I had issues with like just the editing and the style.
Okay.
This is probably just purely for my own taste, but I didn't want it to be like intercut and interspersed with an opera. I would rather just have it focused on the action. I found like all the cuts into like the opera that's going on at the same time super distracting and a little bit like pretentious. And this goes back to the point I wanted to make about the music, because the music is grounded in that sort of, it's not necessarily high energy, but like kind of gothic dark music. But it would have been so much cooler if like they had done some kind of needle drop where the music plays something more high energy and then we do see longer takes and it just focusing on the fight. Because I feel like just it cutting away to the opera is like, ooh, but the opera is like the fight because there's a story of the fight with the opera. It's like, yeah, nah, it's not working, man. Like, I don't care about this opera. Like, I know the old guy did, and he paid for it with his life, but it's like, I just wanted to watch, like, just watch Bill Skarsgård, like, just focus on this, you know? Then you can have, I don't know, I just felt...
Yeah, you're probably right. It would have been more impressive of a scene if it was just, you know, a straight up action scene, maybe even a one shot. Skarsgård has the physicality for it. I think
yeah, definitely. He's done 2 action movies.
Yeah.
Like he did I haven't seen Boy Kills World, but it looks like he's done a fair bit of physical action for that. And he's like obviously worked on himself because he's pretty like, even though he's got a scrawny build, he's like pretty tank.
Yeah.
I think his build actually works for the character of the Crow. Kind of like a malnourished grunge rocker,
Sure.
I guess,
Yeah.
is the way, but he's like also tank. So it's believable. But yeah, I reckon I don't know, it just, if the editing was a bit better and just less pretentious, because I think, I don't know, I think Rupert Sanders was trying to be like Skyfall or something. And it's like, yeah.
Well, maybe that's
I don't know.
the style that he's trying to put into the film. Because, like, yeah, I mean, the original is pretty stylish as well.
Yeah.
So the ending, Tavi, when Bill Skarsgård and Danny Houston's character, they end up at the train station together, having a little scuffle there. Just a really old guy and a really young guy.
I mean, after the scuffle, after that very unexciting scuffle, with confusing elements of shit. Like,
well, it just continues to become more confusing. Danny Houston gets dragged to the underworld for some reason, and then having defeated his enemy, Eric and Shelley reunite at the train station.
Briefly.
Yeah.
But then, like, and this is the part where I don't get, like, because he fails his task of purity. So Eric gives his life up to get dragged to hell. So he'll go instead of Shelley. But then he doesn't. So did I miss something? Is he getting dragged to hell, or is he just in limbo as the Crow forever?
Yeah, I mean, I thought he might be. It's a bit ambiguous. Like, he's just at the train station at the end of the movie, but maybe once the credits start rolling, he's just dragged to hell as well.
He's dragged to hell.
Just reunites with Danny Houston. It's like, oh, hey, man, this is awkward.
Like, fuck you, man. Yeah. Like, because I think I read somewhere that there was a more finite ending that was filmed, but studios wanted to sequel bait, so he just is not dead.
But also, I mean, he is dead. So Shelley, FKA Twigs, gets brought back to life. And they're in the same room that she was, like, killed in. And also, the train station guy is a paramedic there.
Yeah. But I think he's supposed to be like, he fought very hard for you. But so is this in a world where now Danny Houston doesn't exist? So... like,
yeah, like, did they travel back in time, or? So
the gangsters just disappeared. So what the cops are looking for, like, are they still dead?
Yeah, doesn't make sense because it's like they have traveled back in time, but Bill Skarsgård's character has the completed tattoo on his hand, the cry now, cry later tattoo.
That's the thing that they said.
I mean, doesn't matter, I guess. Who knows? Who cares, really? The screenwriters certainly didn't care, Tavi. Why should we care?
So is everyone that he killed still alive? Is like, oh, well, like, why did I kill FKA Twigs for that? I don't know. Some guy told me to, but who? It's like, oh.
Well, no, like, because the train station guy told him to kill everybody responsible for Shelley's death. So presumably they're still killed.
So like when the investigation is going on, have they just been like banished out of existence to this point? And it's just like, well,
I don't know.
This is a weird case.
I wonder if their mate is still dead. The tattoo artist.
Chance the Rapper.
Yeah, Chance the Rapper. Is he dead?
Chance the Rapper.
I don't know. It doesn't really matter at the end of the day. It's an ending, isn't it, Tom?
Yeah, it's an ending. We'll give it that. Yeah.
Yeah, I guess we'll find out in The Crow too. The Crow City of Angels.
That is the Crow City of Angels, which is definitely gonna happen because
this is the end of The Crow, I think. For a while anyway.
I think this movie suffers from poor direction. Yeah, I don't know if Rupert Sanders really has the vision for this movie. I mean, like,
You're
what's
talking
his
about the
body of work?
director of Snow White and the Huntsman, Tavi.
And the Ghost of the Shell remake.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How dare you?
Rupert Sanders seems like he is the man to go to in Hollywood when you need someone to make a movie that nobody else really wants to make, but they can kind of do it competently.
Sure.
Which is, I'm not really sure. It's not really a compliment, but it's not that much of it. Because, like, I think it seems like this movie. I think he was given a brief.
Yeah.
I want this. This is like, yeah, sure, I'll make it with some of my style.
And he did that, didn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, this film has gone through a bit of development issues. I think.
Oh yeah.
It seems to have been in development for ages.
Yeah.
Like at one point, what's his name? That guy I don't like. Star is Born. What's his name?
Bradley Cooper.
Bradley Cooper was going to be the Crow at one
You don't
point.
like Bradley Cooper?
Yeah, no, he's all right. Jason Momoa as well was gonna do it.
Yeah, yeah.
And then we got this.
Jason Momoa would not have been very good. He's too tank.
Yeah, I can see where they're coming from there. He's got long hair and he's tank.
He's too fun though. He's
Yeah.
too funny. Like
Yeah.
Jason Momoa is a scene chewer.
Yeah, so is Brandon Lee.
Yeah, no, actually, no, you're right. Yeah, no, actually, no. I might be wrong about that. Yeah, that's true.
But I think this film, the remake of The Crow, yeah, it's a bit too compromised as well. Much like the remake of The Killer, I feel like it suffers from a lack of commitment to a singular aesthetic.
Yeah.
And a fear of going too far into the silliness.
Yeah, I've been watching some videos or some analysis of like why modern movies are the way they are now. And this is specifically talking about like Hollywood movies and millennial writers in general, is that there is kind of a lack of sincerity when it comes to the writing. So there's a lot of like, when you say something that's cheesy, a character is always like immediately undermining what they're saying.
Sure.
And I guess like the best example is the Marvel movies.
Yeah, it comes with a wink and a nod.
Yeah, it's like, oh yeah, we know it's silly, like we're watching, but sometimes it's just be cheesy, just go full silly, you know. And I think movies are afraid of doing that because people sometimes get caught up in like the realism of dialogue or something, but I don't think that's the big issue. I think it is not getting the subtext through or just being insincere, you know. And that's not to say like all Hollywood movies are doing this. Like, I mean, yeah, I'm just gonna beat the John Wick stick again. John Wick, yeah, there's so many silly lines in that movie and so much like awareness of it, but I think they play into it as well.
Yeah.
Without too much of a wink and a nod. Like every time Keanu Reeves goes, yeah, and it's just like, and Lawrence Fishburne's like poetic, like spiels as like, oh, I am the king or something.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, it's like, you know, it's fun.
Yeah,
but
just be unapologetic about it, I reckon, yeah.
Yeah.
I think there is a bit too much emphasis on trying to please everybody. And I kind of touched
Yeah.
on this when I talked about M. Night Shyamalan the other week.
Yeah.
But it's kind of like, just you do you. And yeah, some people aren't going to like it. That's fine. But, you know, if you commit to something,
Yeah.
then it's going to be better than if you compromise.
Yeah, I think you're right in the sense that the emphasis on movies these days is because movies are so fucking expensive to make, is that like when they make a movie, it's like you have to, even if it's an R-rated film, you have to make it as broad as possible to draw in as many people as you can. And that is going to fail because The Crow is not a story for everyone. You're not going to get your average like middle-aged lady to come and watch this movie. You're not gonna get like a young kid to come in and watch this movie, you know. You might not even get a Gen Zer. Like, this is a movie pretty steeped in its millennial feel. But I mean, there's probably a way you could do it, because if you're talking about the music aspect of things, like shoegaze is really popular these days, and all that stuff is coming back with a bit more like research on, if you know your crowd pretty well, you can follow the trend. They could have made it work, but I don't know. I don't think anyone who worked on this movie really cared, to be honest. which is kind of sad. There's like, look, I can see effort put into this movie, but it's also like, it is a paycheck movie as well.
Yeah. I would say that The Crow 1994 it's not a masterpiece by any stretch of the imagination, and I'm definitely less attached to it than I am The Killer 1989.
Yeah.
But it's still better than the remake of The Crow somehow.
Yeah.
And
I don't know. I actually really appreciate the 94 Crow. There's something about it.
I think it's Michael Wincott.
like even Ernie Hudson kind of does that wink and a nod in that movie as well. Because it's like, he says something, but it's like, I don't know. I think it's just because it's Ernie Hudson.
Yeah. You're really missing the charisma,
charm.
I think. In both situations, in the Killer remake and the Crow remake, I think you're missing a certain level of charisma from the cast that just carries through all the silliness of the movies.
I mean, we haven't really talked to. I guess we should talk about the action in the original, because like there's actually not that much choreographed action scenes, but the kills are quite fun. There's like the guy that he like shoves all the knives in, and then they find like his body later. One of my favorite action scenes, like towards the end, is where Brandon Lee rocks up and there's all these like top executive guys and they're all like as if he's invincible or whatever. They're I'm fucking evil. And then like he comes in and he's like gunning all these guys down and he's like, and this is where like I saw the John Woo aspect of it, because he's like running around shooting dual pistoling and people are getting shot.
Yeah, he's doing some flips and some rolls.
Yeah. I thought, oh man, this is like quite cool, because I think I'd watched The Crow pretty shortly after I'd watched The Killer, so I was like, oh, this is quite fun. So like the action it just felt better. And then he has that final action scene with Michael Wincott, and there's a bit of verbal exchange, but it's in the rain. He's got his long ass hair, and they're fighting on a rooftop. And what's also at stake is like this little girl that he looks after is about to fall to her death. And then I think Michael Wincott does something like quite ratty.
Probably.
Let her go. Okay. There you go. More Joker references perhaps. and then she's like dangling, and then like he topples Michael Wincott over, and then he's impaled on a
gargoyle or something.
Yeah. It's cool. It's just cool.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah,
I think
there's atmosphere, you know?
Yeah.
So, I mean, the whole thing, like the city that the original Crow is set in, there's so much atmosphere, even though it's mostly a CGI city at times. Whereas in the remake, it's just a city, you know? It's just like they're not living in a dirty loft apartment. They're living in like some nice, nicely furnished.
It's true. Yeah, right. Yeah. I was going to say, actually, you're bringing that up. The production design is just off. Again, I think this is poor direction as well. Like, I'm just going to say, it's just the wrong vision for this story. Because you're right. She's like, oh yeah, my friend lives here. He's like a rich guy. And it's like, what? Where's like the heroin needles and the dirty, grimy feel? And then like Danny Huston's they're always at the opera. I think this might lead into my issue. It just feels, the vision of it feels very pretentious, like, you know, but like it doesn't work, because it works well in, fuck, I can say this again. It works well in John Wick because you can see the griminess with all the other characters. It's not as grimy. You
got to contrast it. And that's what was missing. There was no contrast between the good guys and the bad guys. They just kind of lived in the same space.
Everyone is just like rich. But he's a junkie. It doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
And it's just not like, it's not dirty enough. And I think Rupert Sanders was going for a vision. It just didn't work. But sometimes you just, like, you know, I don't know the guy. Maybe, I don't know anything about Rupert Sanders. He's probably like a really nice dude. And sometimes when it comes to filmmaking.
Unless he isn't. In which case.
Unless he isn't.
Don't worry about it.
but sometimes you get to a point where you maybe write yourself or you work yourself into a hole, and then you realize that maybe this doesn't work, but then you got to kind of adhere to like the time.
You just got to push it out. You just got to push it out.
Just got to push it out. Let it get critically panned.
Yeah. Let it get made fun of by the director of the original. You see his tweets? It's pretty pretty mean tweets from Alex Proyas.
It's kind of funny. It's a little bit mean, but it's also
mean.
Funny.
His movie was not that good. He's got no right.
I don't know. I think it's funny.
But then there was also tweets from Rupert Sanders as well, lashing out at critics of his film, saying
what was Rupert Sanders saying?
Something along the lines of people on the internet should get a life.
I mean, yeah, there's some truth to that as well. Like,
Nah, if people on the internet were like praising this movie, he wouldn't be saying that, would he?
yeah, no, but if you're just like blindly hating something, then yeah, that's another rant for another video.
Yeah. To be honest, I'm not sure if the amount of hate this film is getting is warranted. It's pretty bad, but it's, again, I don't think it's worse than something like a trigger warning, which nobody is talking about. But I think it's like remake-itis as well. Like, if you're a remake of something that people like, then obviously you're going to be under a bit more scrutiny than something like trigger warning.
You can't help but being compared to it. I think,
but nobody's comparing it to the sequels, which are probably bad.
I've never seen a Crow sequel. Yeah, I think the Mark Dacascos. No, it was fucking who was. Edward Furlong was in the last.
Of them. Yeah. With David Boreanaz.
Man, Edward Furlong, the probably like the worst aged actor in Hollywood.
He could have been successful. Made some poor choices, I think. That's neither here or there. And I think the extra diegetic as well that The Crow is like the last movie that Brandon Lee did make. Probably also plays a factor. There's an emotional component, I guess, for some people. And certainly tragedy. But I don't know. Like, I don't think the 94 one is that good, to be honest. But the 2024 one is worse. That's all I'll say.
I mean, I enjoyed. I actually quite enjoy the 94. I'm not sure if it's a masterpiece either, but I actually think it's a pretty enjoyable film.
They should have brought Michael Wincott back for the remake. That would have improved it. He could have played the devil guy.
Yeah. Imagine that.
Imagine him whispering in your ear with his gravelly voice. I'd do anything he says, Darby. I'd stab you in a heartbeat.
Yeah. But I'm not sure if I got too much more to say.
Yeah, let's wrap it up
about either Crows. Yeah, let's do it.
All right, guys. What did you think of these two remakes? Did you like either of them? Because we didn't, but you can let us know. You can get in touch with us at twoasianblokes@gmail.com. You can join our Facebook group to be part of the conversation, or you can follow us on Instagram and TikTok at 2 Asian Blokes to see what we're up to. I don't know. Are we just too old? Are we out of touch, Darby?
We're out of touch.
Yeah, judging from the Rotten Tomatoes scores of the Crow remake, I think we're with the majority actually for this one.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
But I don't know. Remakes. It's hard remaking stuff.
Yeah.
Maybe just don't do it. Maybe do something original. How about that?
Yeah.
That'll be the day, wouldn't it?
Yeah, it would be, yeah.
All right, I think that's us for now.
Yeah, that's us.
Until next time.
See you later.
Bye.